Hey, it's Alex, and today I'm going to show you how to make my chicken cordon bleu bake. Cordon bleu. So this recipe is kind of a cross between a classic chicken cordon bleu and a beef Wellington. So I had the classic elements of a chicken cordon bleu, but instead of the breading outside, I did a puff pastry outside. So the chicken cordon bleu inside is all very classic and traditional. So you can choose to season your breasts individually, but I just threw them all in the bowl and seasoned that all in there just to make it a little easier and faster. So you're gonna wanna pound out your chicken breast until it's pretty thin. This will help you to roll it in the next step. If you happen to have a metal mallet, that's a really easy way to make sure your chicken is pounded out properly. But there's other tools you can use lying around in your house to make sure you get that thin piece of chicken. I used a wooden spoon. It takes a little extra effort, but it still works. And you can also use a cast iron skillet. So I layered this with a double layer of the cheese just to make sure you get that extra ooey gooey cheesy center. And it actually made for a pretty good visual at the end. So to make the rolling process easier, I had my chicken on a piece of plastic wrap. So once you roll it up, you're able to encase that in the plastic and roll it even tighter. You want a really tight seal, so rolling it back and forth will help you achieve that. You kind of want to get all the air you can out of it and tightly roll it and seal it on the edges so they have a nice, tight little chicken. Little chicken. They look like little piggies. So putting the chicken back in the fridge is an important step to allow the chicken to kind of firm up and hold its shape. So now for the outside, I used puff pastry because that is classic to a beef Wellington. I trimmed the puff pastry down just because with the individual wrapped chickens, you don't want to have too much extra puff pastry because it'll just be too bready, and also it might not cook all the way through if there's a lot of extra kind of bunched up right there. So classically in a Wellington, the puff pastry is brushed with English mustard. You could really use any mustard variety that you like a Dijon or just a regular yellow mustard, but English mustard has a ton of flavor and a really bright, vibrant yellow color. And you can usually find it at most grocery stores. So once our chickens are cooled and set, pop that right on the puff pastry and give it a wrap. Now again, if you have too much extra puff pastry, trim that off, and then you can tuck the sides under and kind of fix it so it looks really nice. The egg wash will help your puff pastry get really nice and brown and golden color once it's baked. So then it's time to get a little fancy with it. So in order to create a nice design on the outside, I took a fork and kind of drew marks in the puff pastry itself. So I did the lines one way and then I went back and did it diagonally so it had a nice kind of diamond pattern on the puff pastry. So once it bakes, it looks really nice and pretty. Then hit it with a little more salt and you're ready to bake. Salt Bae, that is. So you want to bake your rolls until, of course, the chicken is cooked through. Now this chicken will actually cook pretty fast because it's pounded out so thin. So it just won't take as long to cook as a full piece of chicken breast. But you also are looking for a really deep golden brown color on the puff pastry to make sure it's all the way cooked through. Pounding out the chicken breast and rolling it up like this will help you get that really beautiful spiral center that every chicken cordon bleu should have. Also, what's great about using the puff pastry as opposed to a classic chicken cordon bleu breading is that it's so much cleaner. Breading is often pretty messy since you have a lot going on with the egg and the breadcrumbs and the flour. But this, you get it all in one go and no mess, no fuss. It's what I like. This dish is also super show-stopping. It's a great dish for a dinner party. They're pretty big, so you might not need to eat the whole thing, but they look really fancy. And they taste even better.
Hello, my name is Alvin, and today I will be showing you my recipe for chicken parmesan stuffed garlic bread. So this is definitely one of my more crazier tasty recipes. I sat on this concept for like 6 months, like not even kidding. I really want to combine garlic bread with something else because everybody likes garlic bread, and garlic bread should not be only a side dish, it deserves to be the main attraction. I want to combine it with something that's like an entree. So I was like, oh, what do you eat garlic bread with? Meatballs, spaghetti, pasta, chicken parm. Oh, chicken parm sounds really good. It's got everything that garlic bread needs in a best friend. So I was like, I need to find a way to make chicken parmesan mixed in with garlic bread. So my idea was that instead of doing a whole chicken breast, I would cut chicken breast up into smaller strips, bread them, fry them separately, so you almost have like these little chicken tenders that you can work with. After that, I would wrap each chicken tender with a slice of mozzarella cheese because that's what chicken parm needs. And then I would take this little like chicken cheese cylindrical thingy and put it inside a hollowed out baguette. I think that you need to make sure that you get a baguette that is not too thin because you're going to hollow it out. Because you're going to hollow out the baguette, you need to make sure that you take a really thin, sharp knife and cut out like the filling of the bread. You don't want to waste that. You can use that for croutons. You know, sometimes the middle of the bread can be the best part. I ate way too much of it as a kid, so don't throw that away. But just make sure that you hollow out a big enough hole that your fried chicken with the cheese around it can fit in. And I would cut that into small pieces. Try to make sure that when you cut your chicken, it's uniform all the way through, because if you start with a piece that's like too wide at one end and too narrow at the other, you might get like halfway into the bread and then it's gonna be like, nope, I don't want to go in anymore, and then it'll stop. Once you perfectly fit the chicken and the cheese inside the baguette, you want to make sure that you line it all up. Cut them into about 1-inch pieces because this is meant to be handheld food. Once you cut them up, line it on the tray, brush some amazing garlic butter that you make over the top, which is super, super easy. Just some garlic, just some butter, maybe some parsley if you want for color. Be liberal, you know, garlic bread. Whoever's eating it, I don't think they're trying to be on a diet, so and you also don't have to tell them how much you put in it. So brush liberally, it'll get absorbed, it'll be delicious, nobody's gonna complain. Everybody loves garlic breads. After you brush it with butter, cover it with foil or don't, depending on how crispy you want your garlic bread, bake it off, and you have this wonderful, wonderful finger food for your party. What's great about it is because you've made these cuts and because you put them back together in the oven, the cheese is actually going to help it all stick together. So when it comes to the table and people pull it apart, you get that amazing signature tasty cheese pull that I've spent way too long trying to get sometimes. So I think if you serve it with a side of marinara sauce, you have all the elements of chicken parmesan and garlic bread in one single bite, which I think is really, really cool because it's a handheld version of a usual dish that requires a fork and a knife. So I think this is a great idea. I wasn't sure if it was gonna be too much work where everybody was gonna be like, this is stupid, like why would you ever do this? But eventually, one day I was like, you know what, Alvin, if you're not gonna make this ideal, you'll probably go mad. So I buckled down, I cooked the recipe, I edited the video, and it actually turned out to be really, really cool. If you have a party coming up and you wanna make this dish, feel free to customize it however you like. If you end up making it, let me know, post in the comments. I wanna see a picture because I love when people make my recipes. So feel free to do it for any party. I will guarantee it's a crowd pleaser. So happy cooking.
Hi, I'm Alexis and I'm the Senior Food Specialist here at Tasty. Today I'm going to show you how to make my chicken teriyaki crispy rice noodle bowl. I love chicken teriyaki, but it can often feel so heavy to me, and I wanted to make it in a way that felt lighter and a little more exciting. So I think using the fried noodles and incorporating some of these other really fresh toppings makes it feel fresh and exciting while still having that really incredible flavor from the teriyaki sauce. So to start this recipe, you're going to make the teriyaki sauce. It's really simple. You're whisking a few ingredients together and set it aside. So I used really thin vermicelli noodles for this. So you want to make sure that you're taking small portions of the noodles off. If you put the whole thing in, it's not going to fry correctly. Break it apart, take a handful of the dried noodles before you start to fry. You also want to fry the noodles in batches so that they all get evenly cooked. If you overcrowd the pan, they're going to get burnt. So whenever you're frying, you really want to make sure it's the right temperature so you get the right consistency and that it cooks through. We tried frying these noodles at different temperatures, and too low and nothing happens. They just become like oily noodles. If it's too high, the noodles will get brown really fast. So you really want to use a thermometer. So the rice noodles are going to cook really, really fast. As soon as they've expanded, you can use a slotted spoon to remove them onto a sheet tray. Once you fry the vermicelli noodles, they just get this incredible crunch, which I personally love. So once your noodles are fried, you can move on to the chicken. You're going to salt and pepper the chicken. add it to a wok. And at this point, then you're gonna add that reserved teriyaki sauce. This takes a few minutes and the chicken's gonna get really like shellacked with this incredible sauce. It's gonna be deep and flavorful, and it's truly such a good sauce. You could just kind of drink it if you wanted. I think the joy of this dish is that it has a ton of flavor, but that it's really easy to do. Frying, sure, will take a few minutes, but honestly, you could do this for under an hour. This could be a weeknight meal that's more interesting than takeout, and it's more interesting than your usual chicken teriyaki. Once you're done with the chicken, you can serve it over the noodles. I added some stuff like snap peas, radishes, scallions, but you can top it with whatever you like. You can also just make the chicken on your own. You could make the rice noodles on their own and put other toppings, something like shrimp or vegetarian stir fry. It's a really versatile recipe. These noodles are worth making on their own. The chicken teriyaki is worth making on its own. But if you make it and use other ingredients, other toppings, let us know in the comments. We want to see what you're making at home.